Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we have some very interesting information to talk about regarding the next update. So I know the last couple of days has been pretty confusing. The saga of expecting I Am Not a Hipster Part 2, receiving a riddle talking about how it's not going to be Hipsters Part 2 or that's going to be coming at a later date. Needless to say, there's just been a lot of confusion. And my point remains the same. Hopefully we do get some information from Rockstar soon that officially clarifies what we will be receiving. But we did get an update from Bender, who is one of the network partners on the GTA Forum site. He's also sort of a Rockstar insider. He pops up every now and then, and when he does, his information is usually pretty interesting. And this is what he had to say. He states, "I still wonder what happened to Part 2 of the gunrunning update. You might remember I talked about it a while back, and it was for sure in development back then. I was quite surprised when it didn't get released in August and we got Smuggler's Run instead, even if it does resemble Gunrunning kind of." So he sees two scenarios. Gunrunning Part 2 is an upcoming update, or Gunrunning Part 2 was split into various updates, with Smuggler's Run being one of them, and there are other updates to come. So that is very, very interesting, and that does indeed make sense because Smuggler's Run is pretty similar to Gunrunning. There's both like weaponized vehicles, just Gunrunning was all about land vehicles, Smuggler's Run was all about air vehicles. They both added a different type of business, albeit kind of similar with the bunkers and the hangars, both kind of smuggling illicit goods and weapons and whatnot. And the clothings were kind of similar. The supercars we got were also pretty similar as well, sprinkled alongside some of the other vehicles too. So it wouldn't shock me at all if Gunrunning Part 2 was indeed Smuggler's Run. But like Bender said, he says that the official version of Gunrunning could also be coming in the next DLC. Now, he responded to a question that also featured a gif of Michael Scott yelling no, that was, "So, if I Am Not a Hipster Part 2 is indeed put on hold," he also says, "Can you confirm this? Then Gunrunning 2, the actual one or the split one, alongside with Smuggler's Run, might be the next update, ... And he says, "Yep, I don't know about I Am Not a Hipster Part 2, but I doubt Yan was trolling. He never does, and it wouldn't be good for his rep anyways. So if the update is not I Am Not a Hipster Part 2, I think it could very well be a Part 2 / extension of the Gunrunning update, or the other split part along with Smuggler's Run, as you said." Okay, very, very interesting. So he believes that Yan is correct, that I Am Not a Hipster Part 2 is not going to be the next update, that it was either scrapped or it's delayed or it's coming at some other point in time in 2018. And he does seem as if it could very well be a Part 2 of Gunrunning, or an extension of Smuggler's Run, or sort of the leftovers we saw from a combination of both of those DLCs. Moving on, he gives us some more information that is, just to clarify, I agree with what was said above. I'm not fond of the cryptic stuff anymore. Actually, I had a brief discussion with Yan about it, but in my opinion, if some leakers do it because they have no choice, and they have to be vague when giving their info, not because they want to troll the community. Regarding what I said about Gunrunning, here is a link to my post in early July in the same thread, so you know I'm not trolling. Obviously, it didn't happen that way. Let's take a look at what Bender said. You can see this date was on July 9th, 2017. He says, "What was said about Gunrunning Part 2 is true, but it's only happening if Gunrunning Part 1 is considered to be a success in Rockstar's eyes. Also, the update will not necessarily be called Gunrunning Part 2. It can be anything, like for Cunning Stunts and Cunning Stunts Special Vehicle Circuit. It will be released in September at the earliest, or October at the latest. It may or may not include the Hunter, which indeed did come with Smuggler's Run." So that is pretty interesting right there, and that should give Bender some validity if you didn't already believe him, that he indeed does have some insider information here. So does this mean that Gunrunning Part 2 is looking more and more likely? Or I'm imagining it's going to be the scraps from the Gunrunning update and the scraps from Smuggler's Run kind of put together in one update, which I'm not exactly sure sounds all that exciting, but who knows? Maybe Rockstar will end up putting together something pretty cool. Now, building off of what Bender said in that first message that was, if Rockstar considered Gunrunning Part 1 to be a success, apparently it wasn't that big of a success. So according to some, the reception to Gunrunning was not very good, despite its increase in shark card sales. And the backlash for that update apparently was also pretty big, so they decided to hold off on Gunrunning Part 2 for the time being. So we are getting some conflicting reports here, but if Rockstar's true agenda here is all about the shark card sales, then you would think Gunrunning Part 2 would be a go after all. So let's talk about why this update could make sense based off of what Rockstar has told us so far. So Rockstar have confirmed 3 things: legendary motorsports vehicles, weaponized vehicles, and new properties on the Maze Bank foreclosure. What did the Gunrunning update have? The Gunrunning update had weaponized vehicles, it had cars on the legendary motorsports site, and it had a property, the bunker, on the Maze Bank foreclosure site too. So that's 3 for 3 check marks here that kind of indicate that, yeah, a second rendition or a part 3 of Gunrunning and Smuggler's Run looks to be the update that will be coming out. Now, as Bender mentions, there is a chance that it won't be called Gunrunning Part 2. It just might operate on sort of the same theme with the weaponized vehicles. And this brings me to another point. Could this be Rockstar utilizing the sea update or the naval update that a lot of people have predicted as well? Because it would sort of have the same vibe as Gunrunning and Smuggler's Run. Gunrunning was all about land vehicles. Smuggler's Run was all about air vehicles, which would leave this Part 3 Navy update to be all about sea vehicles. Now, there's a lot of really cool vehicles that could be included here as far as weaponized racing boats and casual watercrafts, and even introducing the aircraft carrier, which is something a lot of people have been, longing and wanting for too. So there's definitely a lot of room for Rockstar to work here, but I'm not exactly too sure how popular a sea-based update would be. Now, if the next theme is Gunrunning or builds off of the Gunrunning theme, we can definitely expect a couple things. Obviously, weaponized vehicles. Along with those weaponized vehicles, you're likely going to have high prices. I wonder if they will also introduce more Mark II weapons, or at a minimum, introduce new weapons. That would be quite nice. And unfortunately, this looks like it might signal the return of research. One of the most frustrating parts about the Gunrunning update was having to research a lot of the items in the game, which essentially was like a paywall cash grab in order to get the things a little bit faster than having to wait like the 8 or 12 hours, however long it was, in order to unlock an item without having to pay. So there's definitely some good things and some bad things to go along with this. Me personally, this is not the theme I want to see. I would much prefer I Am Not a Hipster's Part 2. To be very honest with you, I'm starting to get burned out on sort of the pseudo-military themes that are going on. I'd much prefer a more casual theme like Hipsters Part 2. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments section down below, and that's where I'm going to end the discussion today. What do you think of a Gunrunning Part 2 or a Gunrunning Smuggler's Run combo Part 3 in Grand Theft Auto Online as the next update? From what Bender is saying, from what Rockstar has teased so far, it kind of looks like this actually might be the case. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Let me know what you think about that and more. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. We relate daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.